Okay, so we are live. A very good afternoon here from the UK. So it's a very sunny afternoon, quite hot, but I think cooler than the day before. So I'm a bit glad about that. So today I have a very, very special guest joining in with me for our live session. And for the benefit of my new followers and for benefit of my guest page also, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Dr. Suzie Jacob. I'm a general practitioner here in the UK. And not just that, I'm also a very successful online business coach. I've now been in the online space for about 3 years, and it's been the best decision ever. When I started the business, I was in a place of very, very dark place, unfortunately, and quite burnt out. And my life has changed because of this business. From working 50 hours a week, I now do about 28 hours. Within 14 months into the business, I was able to completely retire my husband, who was a private chef by background. And we also have a lovely, beautiful 16-year-old daughter. So without further ado, I'm just going to ask my guest to introduce herself. So, hi, Itohan, how are you doing?
Hello, hi everyone. I just want to say thank you very much, Suzie, for having me on today. I feel very honoured and very grateful. That's right. I'm Itohan. I am a mom of 3 girls. All of the one's just turned a teenager. The other two are under the age of that. I'm a wife. I'm also a GP and a digital business owner, which I have been doing for just about a year and a half now. And yeah, that's me in a nugget, in a shell.
That's great. That's great. So, Itohan, I'm sure people have asked you this question because they ask me all the time. GP, online business, what is this all about? Why are you, as a well-paid professional, at least that's what the world thinks. Yeah, the world thinks we are well-paid professionals, and why are you moving from being a GP? And they exactly say those words. You're moving away from being working from a noble profession to something that people don't quite grasp, or people even say, well, online, it's a scam. So what do you tell those people, like when they come to you, why did you move?
Okay, that's a good question. I think on paper, yes, being a doctor sounds like a dream. It's respected, it's stable, it's well paid. But I feel people don't really see what goes on behind all of that. The exhaustion, the missed family moments. I mean, even when you are present, are you really present? Because you're so exhausted, and the emotional toil that it all has. And for me, I think it all stems from when I burnt out. I literally did burn out from all of it. And this is back in 2021, so it's quite a few years ago. And I actually ended up leaving my salaried role that I'd been there for like 7 years. I had no intention of leaving at all, but it all got a bit too much. And so I thought, look, what I need something more. I want to have more flexibility, more time. And so I actually ended up looking for locum work, which offers all of that. You can increase your shift, you can reduce your shift. It was all great, and you earn reasonably, well paid as well. But again, it's not the stable, secure role as it is when you have a permanent position. And funnily enough, it actually started drying up. So shifts started becoming quite competitive, rates started falling, and so I then took on a digital role as a GP from home. But again, the pay wasn't sufficient. So because of that, I actually ended up looking for means of earning some extra income. And that's pretty much how I found this business. I mean, I didn't go looking to become a business owner. In a way, it kind of found me. But it offered, the time freedom, the financial potential, and peace, as well as like automation, mentorship, community, all in one place. And since then, I've kind of joined and I've never really looked back.
Amazing, amazing. Yeah, that's what people don't realize. People just think, oh, you're a doctor, you're well paid. But there are people in my team who have children with special needs.
Mm.
Even though you are in a good working profession, it's not like many of us. Sometimes things happening at home, your children might need support. Or what if you're that person who is going through some health issues at the moment, and that means you can't physically be able to work those hours, isn't it?
Mm.
At the moment, I'm having a frozen shoulder, which has been going on since March. And I do Tuesdays and a Wednesdays in my GP practice. And I have to say, it's a killer, doing like those 10-hour shifts. And I was feeling so grateful. So, when you feel like, oh my God, I can't do this. And then, I'm just at the same time, I'm so grateful for my business, because from working, I used to do this, for 5.5 days a week. At least I'm only doing it for 2 days now. So, when your mind starts becoming ungrateful, you have to just, flip the script and tell, no, I'm really grateful for my business, because now it's just 2 days. But that's the thing. What if you have a health issue that prevents you from picking up those extra shifts? And the other thing is, we don't realize is we're trading our time for money. Yeah, we are not working smart, because yes, if you want to earn a certain decent amount, you have to put in the hours. But as mentioned, if ill parents, you're not in good health, your children are not in good health, or something like that, or like what you say, the market getting dried up, because the big thing now everyone's talking about, AI has the potential now to do triage, robotic surgeries, and the success rate of such things are so good now. I remember doing a research for one of the companies I was working with, and it was testing how the accuracy of AI versus me. And this was about 5-6 years ago, going back. And I was about 94% accurate, and AI was 96% accurate. And this was 5-6 years ago. Can you imagine how much more better they've gotten? And so a lot of our work will be taken up by AI. Of course, I'm
Mm.
not saying it can completely replace us. There will always be a role for doctors or role for other, but that means we are working in a very competitive market. So
Mm.
where you could have got very good rates, now they might pay you even half of what you earned about 5 years ago. Oh wow, that's a mic drop moment there itself, isn't it? Yeah, and that's the shocking truth. And of course, uh, you know the new thing, allied work professional health professionals,
Mm.
many of them able to do what we were only doing about 6-7 years ago, isn't it? So
Yeah.
the market is drying up. There are redundancies, and it's not that we are wishing or hoping for the all doom and gloom, but we need to be prepared. We
Yeah.
need to prepare ourselves for, because this is just because we don't have a crystal ball to say, what's going to happen to our future, isn't it? And I think the smart move will be to make sure you're covered. And the thing is, when you do work those long hours, it's your family who's really, really affected. I remember my daughter one day telling me, Mom, whether you're here at home or not, it's just the same for me. And and that was a moment that I came to know. I was like, that's enough is enough. And that was a never again moment for me. And I realized that if I didn't make a change, and when she's 30 and I call her, darling, when are you coming home? I don't know. I would be the one to be blamed, not her, because I was not there for her when she needed me. So I can't blame me that she would respond that way. And that was like a nightmare for me. And as a parent of our only child, it's not like I can then go to my next child or for some kind of consolement or things like that, and it'd be entirely my fault. Yes, I understood, like, she needs my time. And we think children need our time when they are young. Oh boy. When they're teenagers, it's a completely different ball game. Their needs, their needs become a very, very different and more challenging. So, and it's so funny, I think I'm in my 40s now, and my mom's in 70s, and I still need mom. And I think that's the role of mom, isn't it? You always, it's even for just someone, mom, what do you think I should do? Just something like that. So you do need, and your mom all the time. And that's another realization I came to know when mine became a teenager. So that's why we need to get have that time with our family, because as I always say, I am replaceable as a doctor. People might think, oh, we miss you maybe for a week or so, but then life goes on. But you can't be replaceable for your family. Yep. So that goes on to my second question for you, Itohan. How do you manage this? Because, you're a mom with three beautiful kids, you work as a GP, and you have this online business. How do you do it?
Wow, honestly, it's difficult, it's challenging, but it's all about being intentional with my time. So I work my business around my life, not the other way around. I use small windows, so pockets of time to actually run my business. So it might be before work, maybe half an hour before work, during school runs, or even, I'm a tennis mom, so I've got two of my girls play tennis, or gymnastics, one plays just gymnastics, so I do it in those periods when they're doing those things. So I mean, it is just about managing your time as best you can. And to be honest with you, I do find that my business is probably the easiest part of my day, around everything else. So yeah, that's how I manage to kind of balance things. In terms of, I think other things in terms of practicalities of actually doing those things, is I do weekly kind of planning, but so I set clear goals, but on a daily basis I kind of adjust and adapt, because I'm a mom, things happen. I can't always do things as they're supposed to do, so I do kind of work to adjust with that. I do daily checklists. I think I love a good checklist. I think I've probably picked up from med school where we used to do checklists all the time as a junior doctor as well. So it helps keep me focused, and it's always really, always satisfying when you get to tick things off. And I automate as much as possible. So I think automation, it lightens the load. And that's what I love about this business, that, it works even when I don't work, and it runs 24/7. And the big thing for me, the big challenge thing for me is mindset. So working on my mindset. I practice gratitude. I built discipline. So I work on my beliefs on a day-to-day basis. And I think it kind of keeps me grounded and sets my intentions for the day. It starts my day off just right. I notice if I don't do those, things tend to fall apart a little bit. So it's about me trying to be disciplined and do my daily work on my mindset. But that is a true game changer, working on your mindset.
Brilliant, brilliant. I do some of the things that you do. I do exactly. I use pockets of time before work. And as a GP, like lunch hour is not really lunch hour. You catch up paperwork and other stuff. So during that time in the background, obviously we have two screens in the background. I listen to the training. It's called NET, which is no extra time. So while you're doing something, like while you're cooking, or while you're cleaning, or while, for me, when I do my GP work on the background, I'm listening to the training. Obviously, there are parts of the training where you might need to concentrate. And when I realize, okay, this part is something I need to concentrate, and it's all video-based training. So I check, okay, from this time to this time, I have to go back home and then do that bit properly. But a lot of things you can listen in the background. And that's how I manage my time. I should be fair to tell that I don't like checklists. It just makes me, I it makes me like pressured more, in the sense if I don't see all those ticks done, then I put extra pressure on myself. So what I do, what works for me is, on the day, I think three important things I need for the day. One, for me as a GP, my career, as one thing that I need to do on the day, one thing I need to do for the house, like for my family, and one thing I need to focus on the business. And like what you say, we rely heavily on automation. You can schedule things, you can do on the run. Like I have done school runs while I'm waiting for her, sitting in the car. I've done posts, I've done reels at that time, all those kind of things. We do all these things because anyway you're sitting there doing nothing, so instead of scrolling. And I love what you said about intentionality. You have to be very, very intentional. Okay, so I'm waiting 5 minutes. It'll take her 5 minutes to come to the car. While you're waiting there, instead of just scrolling and whiling away your time, we just become a bit more intentional and utilize that time for the business. And that's how we work in our busy schedule. Be intentional. Whether checklist works for you, or like me, just thinking about three important things that you want to do the day, whatever works for you. Yeah. And for me, I work because when you treat a job as a job, because if you don't treat a job as a job, when someone assesses your performance, you will be falling. So there is a certain level of expectation in a job. So I tell my mentees the same thing. So there's a certain level of expectation in your business. If you treat your business as a hobby, you're just going to get hobby results. If you treat this business as your life depends on it, for instance, this is my backup plan. This is actually now almost coming up to my plan A. Really, the GP is a backup plan, because it's the tides have shifted for me. But a lot of people, we have people entering their retirement. This is their retirement plan. So if you're working on your retirement plan, you can't do it like a hobby. So you have to be very intentional. So, and we all waste about, the average person wastes about 2.5 hours on social media. Well, 2.5 hours if you use on your business, in a year's time, your life will look completely different. So that's what we do. We utilize social media, but we utilize it to make money for it to work for us, basically. And that's how we do it. Yeah. Wonderful answer. Thank you, Itohan. And one last bit. What would you like to advise? One advice, if you were to tell our audience while we are wrapping this up, is what would be that one advice?
That's a tricky one, isn't it? Because there's so many things that I could say. But I guess throughout my kind of journey last few years, and upon finding this opportunity, I've come across so many quotes that have resonated with me. And this one in particular is by Henry Ford, which you may have heard, which says, whether you believe you can or you can't, either way, you are right. So I think having that strong why, I think you've mentioned about having that strong why and believing that you can achieve that why, believing in yourself, it makes such a difference. I think as soon as I chose to believe I could, everything changed. So I let go of doubt. I fully backed myself 100%. And I realized I had far more power than I ever realized I had. The potential to change your life is just amazing, really. And I think, so my advice would be, I guess, long way, rambling a lot, is you should back yourself fully. That's my advice. So your belief is either your limit or your launch pad. And you get to choose which one of those it is.
Absolutely, 100%. There was a time when I thought I couldn't do anything other than being a doctor. I'm not a very good cook also. I managed to get the fire brigade while this was before I got married. I was actually preparing for, at the time, GP land was my second choice. Basically, I was doing hospital medicine for 9 years before I retrained to be a GP. So this was before I got married. I was in a hospital accommodation, as you would at that time, and it was my day off, preparing for my MRCP exam. And I was making some jacket potatoes, and I forgot that I kept them. And then when the smoke came, it was too late. I can just tell you, the doctors who had, after their nights, were sleeping that day were not pleased with me. Let's I think suffice to say that I managed to wake them all up from their sleep. My jacket potatoes, and I gave them all a very sheepish look. I'm like, I was actually preparing for my exam. So the bottom line is, you don't need to be a good cook to do this. You don't need to I know, I told that joke. My husband still, and I married a chef. So you can imagine how much he laughs at this and tells people about it. My wife managed to call the fire brigade out.
Oh dear. Oh, you were that person. I was that person.
And for me, I was like, the only thing I'm good at is being a doctor. And that's our limiting belief. And that's it, isn't it? And you realize you have different facets. You're a mom. Yeah, you're a mom. That's very different from being a doctor. Like my daughter's, friends ask sometimes, well, wow, it must be great to have a doctor in the house, your mom to be and she looks at them and says, oh, she's mom. For her, and that's it, isn't it? For her, I'm not the doctor, I'm mom. And that's a completely different role that you do. For my husband, who's a chef, and by background, for him, I'm his wife. And sometimes, he says something about his health, and I say, have you done that? And like, oh, like that. Then I tell him, do you realize, you're getting free medical advice and you're choosing not to take it? It's one of those things. So for people around you, you have different roles, isn't it? For my parents, I'm their baby girl, I'm their, I am their baby girl because I'm the youngest one. So and I realized, but I can be different people I can do different things. And that when that realization came that I can actually do this if I put my mind to it and get that limiting beliefs off. And why is it possible? Because we have a system, proven system. We have automated systems that work. Even if you're busy, the system works. Like at this time and moment for Itohan and me, our automated system is working in the background while we're chatting at the moment. So while you're sleeping, while you're on vacation, whatever you're doing, then you have a dedicated mentor and a coach. If you're stuck somewhere, there's somebody. And also, if you can't get hold of them because we go on holiday or we are working, you have a community to reach out to answer that question. The other thing is we have a community that will root for you. Because sometimes, where you think, I don't know whether I can do it, I tell my team, take my confidence, take my belief, because I believe in you. And those things mean a lot. And that's why we are successful. It's because of the systems in place. It's because of our training, which you can do at your own pace. Like what you said, you make the business work around your life. Unlike like a job where you make your life work around your job, which shouldn't be the case really. And that's why we are successful. So we've talked a bit about our business and how it is possible in spite of being a busy professional to do this. So if you'd like to reach out and know more, wherever you're watching, whether it's the Itohan's page or my page, reach out to us and we are more than happy to guide you through the next process. But one of my biggest regrets is, why didn't I start it early? And I think that is a regret which all of us have. So don't let this opportunity pass you by. There's nothing, you're not going to lose anything to know more about it. Find out more whether this is a right fit for you. And if it's not, that's okay. But what if it is? And like how it's changed our lives, it would change your life, but you were just too scared to even, take the next step. Yeah. So don't be that person and then see all of us becoming successful, and you could have had an opportunity to be successful, but you didn't take that step. That inaction cost you is actually the enemy of your destiny.
Mhm.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Itohan. It was lovely to have you. And I'm sure we'll have another session sometime in the future. I'm sure about that. And I wish you all the success in your business, and God bless you and your mentees, and wish
Thank
you all the
you.
best.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you. I appreciate it.
No worries. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.